everyone. I'm Twee. I'm a mental health nurse, and I love talking about my mental health journey and sharing my reflections with everyone. So I mostly drive a lot. I commute, and I had hoped to go live, also to be able to create community with people. But you know what? I don't have enough subscribers to do so, apparently. So if you like this video and if you can subscribe to my channel, that will help me be able to go live and interact with everyone more. So today I was reflecting on living at home with our family of origin. And so I won't be too specific to my situation, because I want to keep the privacy for the people. But living at home with your family of origin is essentially going home for the holidays and staying at your parents' house, or if you live really far away and then you're seeing your family of origin, your family of birth, and you may have certain dysfunctions, and all families have them. Some of them are tolerable, and some of them have caused you to decide that you would never want to be in relationship with these people at all. And for one reason or another, you find yourself in their company once again. And so I wanted to share how that is totally normal and share ways to cope with it. So when we stay or see our family of origin, especially over an extended time, then we have the likely potential to regress into our old patterns and behaviors with each other, right? So if you always get together and it's easy for you to predict that you will fight or bicker over the same issues like politics, or someone's drinking, or someone constantly picks a fight and looks for opportunities to do it, things like that. So you may find yourself that you're in a pattern, the same pattern that you were in your upbringing, and that you may have come a long way not to embody that anymore in your personal day-to-day life and in your own family, but it comes out again when you come back to your family of origin. So what do you do about that? Are you regressing? Are you failing? Are you going to be explosive? And it's very possible that you're going to do all of that if you don't have the awareness. So if I relate it back to my experience, my husband was deployed. I ended up getting COVID while he was gone, and it really took a toll on my health, and I needed to stay. I didn't need to stay, but I chose to stay with my mom and dad versus taking extended amounts of leave from work, hopefully to get better, while being busy with a baby, a toddler, a pre-toddler. And while I was very grateful to have my parents' help, what influenced me a lot was the stories that I was telling myself. So initially I was telling myself stories of a lot of frustration that only caused me more stress. These stories that were not serving me were things like, I don't trust my parents. I don't like the way that they interact. One is so reactive and just so explosive, and the other one is so resentful, never proactive, never time managing, us to come over and spend time with you. So that's an example. And that's the narrative I was telling myself. My parents are so dysfunctional. I cannot stand the way they interact with each other. And I don't feel good about my baby being with them. And that's on a spectrum too, right? As far as our expectations for child caregivers. However, what I did then was I needed to examine myself and allow myself to shift those stories. So I sat with it. I asked my body, what does it need to relax? I felt a lot of tension in my shoulders and in my lower back and in my neck, and my therapist had helped me really realize that too. And my therapist, she's a psychotherapist, and she specializes in trauma and EMDR. So when she had prompted me to relax into my body and rest the areas of stress, the neck, the shoulders, and the back, she just asked me, when your body is relaxed like this, how does it think about your family situation? And I thought it was so amazing that allowing the physical places where I feel the stress to relax also prompts my body and my mind to think about the same situation in a different way. Because apparently I was not thinking about it in a wound up, stressed out way. And what I had arrived to is that if I engage with, like, if I add to the fight, if I add to the heat, if I snap back at my parents for their dysfunctions, I am equally dysfunctional, right? I am only making the situation worse. I am a part of the crazy, and no longer can I say that they are dysfunctional and I am not. I've just joined the party. So that's on coping, was realizing the thought patterns and the stories I was telling myself and asking myself what I wanted to shift about it. And it's essentially persuading ourselves, right? We are persuading ourselves to adapt a different story, one that serves us better. And it's okay for us to shift our thoughts, because our thoughts are not, they are pre-programmed, they're programmed. And that means that you can reprogram them. And if you live by the ones that you've had forever ago, they could be dictating your belief system, your realities, your actions that you take. And it just keeps perpetuating the same story to be told anyways. So that's why I had to choose to shift my story and say, all right, well, at any point that I choose to engage with this, it makes me equally crazy. The other story I told myself was that I have had the opportunity to receive this mental health support and to be in a safe place in my life to be able to address my mental and emotional well-being, which are a lot of things that my parents never had the opportunity to do. Being refugees and first-generation Americans. The second thing, or B, I should say, A was shifting the stories, B, I'll say now, is to find your coping skills. And that means not to go in blind. You must go in having a tool belt on of ways that you're going to cope with the situation. And my therapist could go as far as to say that if I couldn't figure out how to cope with the situation, and if it was eating me alive, making me upset, making me regress, re-traumatizing me essentially, that I would have to think more realistically about staying at an Airbnb or leaving my baby for a whole day, even longer, with her grandparents, just so I could have some time for self-care. And self-care for me really included included things like being creative online, like blogging, having my Facebook group, posting on YouTube, believe it or not, because it gave me a place to have my voice, I think, as an adult, and not have it snuffed as someone's child, you know? And the other coping stuff I did was really listening to soothing music, sound baths, brain frequencies, all on YouTube to fit the emotion that I wanted to embody. I also hung out with friends, you know, and they just allowed me to vent, and I would vent a little bit, and then we would just be present in the moment, playing with each other, hanging out with each other, because being at my parents' house has allowed me to be in better physical proximity to see my friends. And whenever I could, maybe once every 2 to 3 weeks, I went to this acupuncture lady, and she did acupuncture, cupping, acupressure, scraping, and moxibustion for me. So it was helping so much to keep my immune system up, because when we are stressed, we eat at our immune system. And if we eat at our immune system, then you know what? We're going to be unhappy and sick. And again, it's just a cycle that perpetuates itself. So B was figuring out my coping skills. And C, I would say, is just to have a lot of compassion for yourself. Have compassion knowing that you may have experiences that you can focus on healing in your own time, and that they may be triggered by being in contact with your family, but you may need to for whatever reason, right? For a wedding, a funeral, an illness, it could be various things where you feel called to really show up, and you want to show up even though you know that there's going to be many triggers. And like, good on you for showing up, for not jumping ship, because it's tempting to, and not everyone will understand your story either, right? When you don't want to see your family, some people who don't have that experience with dysfunctional families will say, well, you know, family is number one, blood is thicker than water, and your family will always be there for you. And you know that to not be true. So when you choose to show up in times that you really need to, that is really a measure of how far you have come, how much you have worked on yourself in order to show up for your family within your own capacity. So have compassion that you are a limited human being, that you are allowed to feel the feelings that you have felt throughout this whole frustration. Have compassion for the limitations of those around you. Shift your stories. Figure out your coping skills, self-care measures. Like, have the people that you're going to reach out to and talk to first, or if you're like me, I like to look up Google articles or YouTube videos, or be a part of Facebook groups where I can post for support. And now that I'm here, months later, probably 4 or 5 months later into being in this situation, I can reflect and say, yeah, this situation happened the way it did on this experience and to savor and be grateful for whatever I could. So I hope this helps you in regards to being at home with your family of origin. If you like this video, even though I'm driving, please like it. Give it a thumbs up if you like the message. Subscribe to my channel, and I hope to be posting more mental health supportive videos for you.